left off, the party went on without you. You ended a little bit early when Xavier logged in, and
Yep.
so I'll recap from when you guys entered the cavern. So there was a cliffside that clung to this massive cavern structure underneath the ground. Very dark, very treacherous, and he told you guys to be quiet. So you quietly made your way down this narrow, winding path off this cliff. The other side is just complete darkness that goes down for thousands of feet, and you can see a faint blue glow beneath, very far off in the distance. Otherwise, it's just kind of moist and drippy, a little bit cold. You're very deep underneath the earth in Sub 2. So you make your way around these cliff faces with Xavier leading and awkwardly holding a stool made of wood that he's been carrying ever since the sunken city. Um, and he is just carrying it with him as he leads you guys along. Um, you make it finally to a ledge where it opens up, and there is a wide kind of platform where it comes to a wall and ends, and there's no path beyond this. You can just see a cavern wall and then the darkness off the edge of the cliff. When you round the corner, you can see off in the distance there is a patch of what looks like foliage and a cane-like hook coming out of the ground with a little lantern on the end, illuminating a small space of greenery in this bluish-green light. Xavier says, "This is it. This is Mother's house. Come on, everyone." As you are walking in, your pendulum starts to swing toward the north wall. It flattens out again, and you kind of do a double take. Lindell, very curious, goes over to the wall and starts to investigate it. You see her also pull out a little piece of string and put a little bug on the end and try to make her own little pendulum. But
She's
sadly,
cute.
it doesn't work. But she tries to channel divinity, and the bug goes toward the wall and then sizzles into dust. Lindell looks at you, Genevieve, back to what used to be her little fake pendulum. Um, I think there's something here.
Should we should we try to touch it?
Yu goes over and inspects the wall. I can feel air moving through it, like a seam.
We go and step through. I'd like to try to like push
Yeah, you go over
on
and
it.
you try to push on the wall. Nothing happens. Cece
Xavier,
comes up and puts a hand on your shoulder, Genevieve. You guys are similar height. Um, she snaps her fingers like she's trying to remember something, points at Lindell. She pulls out her little notepad. Sporelia Trading Company magazine. Lindell
go
starts
back and
rifling through her bag, dumping out the contents, finding the 3 issues that you guys have. CC grabs I think it was the fall edition, and flips it open to a page, turns it around and hands it back to Lindell. Lindell holds it up to her little face, struggling to read it. Ha, ha, ha.
oh, I can help you. Hold on. Mm, do we have that? Do we have Seta's? Sorry,
Yeah. She
what the thing?
holds it. She holds it up to you. What languages do you know?
Ooh, I know. Common, Deep Speech, Elvish, Orc, and Sylvan.
Okay, hang on just a second. Um, Here we go. One moment. Okay, you know Common. You can read this one. The title is Hush Hush Hollow, and I'm gonna read it to you real quick.
Okay.
Hayden had the headache of hiding her hideout from future false familiars who might find it and fight her. Sneak snatched several scrolls that supplied a secret cipher, betrayed by her brother before becoming a bit brighter. There were three things that the thieves thereafter threatened: a powerful pet, a potent potion, and privacy to hide her. The nomad had needs that nature never neglected, so into the inner island she intrepidly inspected. Rough rubble and rocks revealed the right region, a carefully crafted cavern she could conceal a keep in. A deep, dark dungeon dug daring Hayden Defoe, but bellowing ballads began a brimmin' from below.
Cece, do you have any scrolls that we've picked up along the way? No. Lindell, did you collect anything interesting as you were going along?
Um, I mean, nothing like this. Cece holds up her notebook again, and it says Part 2, Next Edition. Lindell goes through the magazines again, finds the right one, and hands it up to you, Genevieve.
Is this Graceful Gospels grew?
Yes.
Graceful Gospels grew and engrossed the gallery, spirits singing of a secret space in a subterranean section. Hayden lettered in a ledger while loyally listening and memorized the messages to master their meaning. Her patience produced a poem to penetrate the portal: door without handle, knock without wood, touch with a candle, open it would. Female followers and fanatics found freedom in the first, while the woman who went without them whittled on her wood. Hereafter the hidden have housed Hayden away, until the queen's cub came to recoup the crone castaway. Tales of her teachings were told to the team led astray, the three things thievery thwarted, and thank goodness, good day. Door without handle, knock without wood, touch with a candle, open it would. Oh, maybe we could use a candle.
Okay, everybody starts going through their inventory looking for a candle. Everyone comes up empty. What do you have in your inventory?
I'm looking.
This actually happened too. We already roleplayed through this. No one had a candle.
Lamp. Maybe not the same.
Xavier takes out his lantern and
Mhm.
you lights it with a flint and tinder. And Xavier goes with the lantern and clanks it against the wall, but nothing happens.
Look, could I try to spell casting? I'd like to do minor illusion to try to conjure a candle.
Okay. Yeah, you make a minor illusion of a candle in your hand.
Like it to just be like flickering, and I'll hold it and kind of reach it out to try to touch it to the wall.
Yeah, you touch it to the wall. Nothing happens. You says, "Oh God, you guys are idiots," and opens up the lantern, taking out the candle from inside of it, and touches it to the
Oh,
wall. When it does, you hear a rumbling as a seam in the wall begins to open up and two halves part to reveal a darkened chamber that leads forward in the distance.
can I peer in from there a little bit just to
Yeah,
see
roll
if
a
I can make
perception
out
check.
anything? Perception is 14.
14. It's weird. It's like, for some reason, you can't see beyond a few feet, even though your vision should go further. It's like a weird mirage inside. Something you can't quite explain. While you're trying to figure it out, you see Lindell. Well, I guess we better go in, and starts to walk towards the entrance. Cece reaches out a hand and grabs her by the scruff and pulls her back. She grabs
Lindell,
the
maybe we should.
candle. She grabs the candle
Hmm.
from you and touches the wall, and the two halves close again. She blows out the candle and writes in her notebook and holds it up. My house. Not yet. Mother first. And puts it away.
That's not the way to mother. Her house. Interesting. So Xavier, which way is it to mother then?
Um, over here, the lantern. Him and Frankie and Cece go over to the patch of greenery with the lantern that's illuminating what looks like a path downward, like a ramp that goes down into the earth. Frankie has a seat down, and Xavier says, "Stay here." Cece sits in his lap and starts drawing on one of his fleshy arms a fake tattoo. She, like, waves for you guys to go without her.
I pull you aside as people start to go ahead.
Yeah.
I just want to ask her. So I know this is Xavier's mother, but do you think we should be prepared for any kind of danger?
I mean, he's been carrying a stool. It's a little weird. He didn't really tell us about the Zorn. That was weird. I mean, I'm just gonna stay back and follow his lead at
Just
this point.
she does seem like she wields magical power, and he did call her a crone, which, in my experience, aren't really the friendliest of folk.
I have no idea what to expect down here.
All right, then I'm gonna
But I
hold.
trust Xavier.
Can I hold chill touch as I'm going down, following them? Then
Yes, you can. Okay, so Xavier leads the pack with Lindell and you and Genevieve at the back. Um, and you guys, Safkeen's kind of in the middle. You guys make your way down. Lindell has a nasty slip, and Xavier has to vine whip grab her. As the stairs, the walls, even the ceiling are covered in all sorts of flora and fauna and slick with moss. You hear even a little trickling of water going down the sides of the stairwell, a natural spring from somewhere in the rock that is feeding this garden of sorts, leading down to a platform down below. Xavier pulls Lindell back up with Yu's help and gets her right again, and you guys slowly make your way down. You see there's a doorway at the bottom of this landing, and on the right side there's a door. Up above the door there's this weird kind of plant-like structure hanging from the ceiling. Okay, guys, get ready to run. I'll distract it. And Xavier rushes down with the stool above his head, and as soon as he gets to where the door is on that platform, you see this bulbous shape begin to split apart at the bottom, revealing these razor-sharp teeth with saliva draping from it, this acidic spit. It swoops down, snatches up the stool, and starts to chew it. Xavier throws open the door and says, "Quick! Everyone!"
dash in.
All right, everybody dashes inside. Xavier shuts the door behind him. Yeah, that's our guard pet. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
We have to leave that way though, don't we?
Yeah, we've got more stools. It's okay. So you guys find yourself now inside a small subterranean hovel. There are a few rooms. You're in kind of an entrance room that's decorated with shelves with all sorts of glass jars and vials, different liquids, different ingredients, things like that. There's a wall of shelves with a doorway in between, and behind it you can see the glow of this orange firelight. There's a giant cauldron, black on the sides, that's bubbling with some liquid, and there's a woman standing behind it. She looks young, dark-skinned, long white hair, youthful, and she's stirring and adding things to the cauldron. To your left is a small dining room. Looks like it hasn't been used in ages. Dust collected on the table. There's a fireplace. Also looks like it hasn't been used in a while. Behind you there's a door that leads to a little room with a straw bed. And you also notice in this main hall there are items kind of arranged around the room. There's a large metal pendulum hanging from the ceiling with a symbol drawn on the floor. It hangs there in the corner. There's a pool of liquid on a pedestal, almost like a little bird bath. Just still water inside. There is an oval mirror made of black onyx that hangs on the wall behind it. It's slightly reflective. there's a shelf with a big glass contraption called an albemic that's used for distilling liquids. And you can see the reflection of all the colors in the room on it. And then finally there's a table with a blue crystal ball with 2 chairs. All of these are arranged around the room like a focal point. As you look, Xavier steps inside. Mother, I'm home. Mother rushes over, kneels down before Xavier and takes his head in her hands. Just looks at him. You've grown. And you've blossomed. And she looks at some of the little blossoms on his foliage. It's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're safe. Welcome home. She takes her hands away and puts them on his shoulders and looks at the rest of you. Thank you for bringing him home safely. Now then, there's lots to prepare. Please come, join me. And she goes over to the cauldron behind the shelving.
Are we following her? Xavier?
Yeah, I have, Mother, I have lots of questions. Xavier, fetch me some ingredients while you tell me about that disgusting thing around your neck. And she points at the amulet that he wears. No, quickly! Ingredients! I need a mountain orchid. I need feathers from a sleeping bird. I need... And she lists off a few ingredients. And Xavier's... yeah. Like he knows where all of these ingredients are, and he starts looking around on shelves. You hear a squawk from a bird in a nearby cage that wakes up when he plucks feathers from it. He comes back with the ingredients, and Mother says, You, please, look down in the cabinet, fetch the Taroka deck and throw it into the cauldron. Quickly! And Yu's like, yeah, I know what a Taroka deck is, sure. And she opens up a drawer that has some items in it, grabs the Taroka deck and shuts it, and all at once, and she plops it into the cauldron. Mother starts stirring wildly as the liquid bubbles and brews. There's some smoke that pours out of it. She says, there's an incantation that she says. I can't remember it now. Let me see if I can remember it. Give me just a second without looking it up. It consumes all and lays to waste. Add food to its mouth for better taste. She says, now, Xavier, the ingredients. And he puts all 3 of the ingredients in as she finishes the incantation. There is a poof of smoke, and she says, wonderful! Everyone, quickly, to the main room, find your reflections. Don't waste time, you don't want to miss it. And she laughs. Okay, we better do as she says, Xavier says as he rushes back into the room. He finds, what did Xavier use? First, Lindell was very curious by the crystal ball already and was trying to steal it from the table, so she immediately just sits down and kind of skeptically looks at the crystal ball. Safkeen goes over to the pool of water, putting her arms around it and kind of staring into her still reflection. Yu goes behind Safkeen to the oval mirror, the onyx mirror on the wall. It's a scrying mirror, she says. I don't know about this. And then finally, Xavier goes to the glass shelf where there is the albemic, and he peers into his convex reflection.
Well, that leaves me with the pendulum, so I'm going to go stand under it and look up, I suppose.
Yu says, Genevieve, are we doing this? Safkeen? Xavier is already transfixed on his reflection. He does not hesitate.
We always seem to find a way back. Let's try.
I mean, I guess. Alright. I guess let's try it. Yu looks into her reflection. I don't know. I don't think we should. And when she says that, you see a hand reach out and grab her shirt and tug her into the mirror. You see a hand grab Lindell's throat and yank her into the crystal ball. You see Xavier dive into the Albemic freely. You see Safkeen transfixed on her reflection as her face touches the water and goes beneath it. What do you do?
My eyes are going to naturally go up without choice. It's just curiosity is going to kick in.
So
As I look up
the
towards the
pendulum
pendulum.
is a little below head height and it just hangs there, motionless. It is a bright, shiny platinum color, and you can see yourself very clearly in the reflection. You stare into your own eyes, becoming transfixed, the background falling away, becoming a blur and then darkness, and all you see is yourself peering back. You feel something try to pierce your mind, a spell. Do you let it?
I think I'm going to try to fight back first. This would
Okay.
scare me.
Go ahead and roll a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw. So that is... Oh, a 20. 18 plus 2.
18 plus 2, 20. Very nice. Do you want to try to resist?
I want to try to resist while reaching out my own pendulum in front as well.
Okay, you start to reach out your own pendulum, and the reflection winks back at you. Reaches out, grabs the pendulum with your hand, and starts to pull you in. You feel a piercing in your mind as it starts to pull you closer to the surface of this pendulum. Your arm goes inside of it, and you feel this piercing in your brain as you take 9 points of psychic damage.
Shit.
And you are sucked into your reflection, into a vast void of darkness. Reality behind you in the reflection is but a speck that disappears as you float into this endless sea of nothing, of void and absence.
Is there any, can I hear anything? Is there any sound as well?
Roll a perception check.
21.
You see a small point of light approaching you from behind as you turn around. It grows faster and faster, filling more of the dark void, and you're again confronted by your reflection on the other side of a convex, pendulum-like surface. But now you are the reflection, cast in a silver light. You stare back at the real you in the room where you once were. Behind Genevieve are your friends, also transfixed on their reflections. To your horror, the real Genevieve smiles, but you are not smiling. She reveals a hand from behind her back, clutching 2 Taroka cards, and hands them towards you, barely, gently touching the edge of the pendulum's surface and breaching it. You see the silvery glow turn to the dark black edge and white text of the Taroka card, piercing the veil. You hear Mother's voice echoing behind you, giggling. Don't miss it!
Grab the cards as they're coming through then.
Alright, you reach out, you grasp the cards, and you are thrust backward into the void again. Your reflection disappears into a tiny speck. As you float there in the nothing, you see 2 more points of light appear to your left and your right. They approach quickly at the same time, growing into the outlines of doorways covered in patterns and shapes. They begin to rotate freely in space and reveal their opposite sides. Two giant Taroka cards looming on either side of you as they approach like two giant ships colliding in the ocean. The two images merge at your feet like a parting line between two worlds. But they're upside down, with you in between, 1 foot on either side of two existences connected by a stone-arched doorway. Would you like to look left or right?
My natural pushes to look to the right.
To your right is a dark, damp stone chamber. You stand on the stone slab ceiling, looking up at the chamber in front of you, like a hallway. The large stone blocks on the walls are adorned with metal binds and shackles that drape upward as you stand there upside down. Heavy arched wood and iron doors line both walls of the chamber, their points near your knees. The doors are all padlocked, a bit above head height, with a narrow barred window on the door near your chest. The faint glow of torchlight at the end of the hall illuminates an entryway to somewhere beyond. The hall comes to a T at the end, about 60 feet ahead.
Othmall? Just gonna try to push and run ahead.
Your voice echoes down the hall. You can hear the muffled moans of some creature echo in the distance. It's mixed with ambient noise and drips, but it sounds tortured and distant, and it gives you chills. Behind you is the open doorway, with a crisscross barred gate that's swung open. On the other side is the other world, the other Taroka card. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna cast... If I'm gonna try to cast... hold on, I'm just digging here. What was my message spell? Remember, it's been a long time. I'm looking for it here.
You want to cast message to who?
I did. I wanted to try to cast message to Othmall.
To Othmall.
But I don't think it was it was sending, right? Sending.
Yes, sending, I believe.
That's what I'm looking for.
That's the one that is, like, not rangeless, but close.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What would you like to
So
say?
3rd level sending.
Yep, go ahead and mark off the spell slot.
Sure. Casting.
And what would you like to say to Othmall?
Othmall, I see stone doorways, metal binds, shackles. Are you here? Can you hear me? Is that...
Still got it. Do you want to say 8 more words?
No, too
Okay,
desperate. This
okay.
is a flustered, like,
Yeah,
just
very
quick
good.
call out to try to make anything happen.
You hear a fuzziness like static come back in your mind. Can't. And that's it. You hear the tortured scream of something in the distance again. Not in your head, but in the chamber where you now stand.
Can I try to flail out one of the, or look through the door with the little bars atop? Can I? Is it possible for me to tiptoe
Like to
and see through?
go back and look the other way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you turn around, you head back towards the barred gate that swung open. There's a stone arched doorway, and through it you can see a crowd of people, all dressed nicely. There are children, there are fireworks going off in the sky in the background. People are just kind of rushing around the doorway as if it doesn't exist, like you're in the middle of a crowd. All of them are moving towards a big top tent in the distance. Would you like to step through?
I'm gonna glance back again behind me.
Okay. You glance back again behind you. You just see the darkened interior, the torchlight flickering, the squeaks of
Can
mice.
can I feel down my side and see if I can find the bottle with December diamonds?
Yeah, yeah. You pull out the bottle.
Does it look like it's glowing still? Is there any sign of?
No, it doesn't look like it's glowing or anything like that.
I'm gonna pop it open and see if he's in there still.
You pop it open, and there's no explosion of dust like usual.
I'm gonna step through in towards the crowd into
Okay. You step
the
to
other
the other
doorway.
side into the busy crowd, but they're upside down above you, walking upside down, walking through this bustling festival. The fireworks pop underneath you in the sky. You smell sulfur and the heavy oils of frying of all manner of delightful goods at stands. People and children play carnival games and laugh. There's a large red tent erected in the distance, and the crowd is hurriedly moving that direction. You see the entrance to the tent upside down, and hear a man and a band ushering people inside for the big show! The big top points downward through the haze of gunpowder, a flag flapping in the moonlight. Behind you is the small stone building with a doorway, an open barred gate leading to the other world.
How do I move if I'm in the sky? Is it like a swimming motion?
It's strange. It's almost like your feet are planted on some kind of ground, but you're looking up at the crowd as they move. You're not
I'd
falling.
like to just upright and walking. Okay.
Right,
I want to.
and their heads, the heads of the crowd are like right above you. So you almost have to kind of duck to avoid people as they walk past you upside down. But they don't seem to pay you any attention. They don't notice that you're upside down.
Towards the big top then to look inside.
Okay. All right. You step out into the crowd, and people walk past you roughly, bumping into you every once in a while and looking back, sorry, and then rushing forward again. You see a puff, a dash of pink pixie dust, and December Diamonds flaps his wings over your shoulder. He gives you a dash of the same pink pixie dust. Like, come on, Jen. The show's about to start.
What kind of show? What's happening?
No, come on. He flutters off in a pink and white tuxedo, but with no shirt underneath, his bare chest showing under the unbuttoned tuxedo jacket. He pulls out a
December
cane.
Diamonds, you look hot, but I can't. I don't understand.
He doesn't respond, but keeps fluttering down towards the big top. He pulls out a cane and a sparkly pink top hat and flies through the crowd. You begin to float and fly, the pink pixie dust taking effect. But you sprout your own silvery butterfly wings. You can now right yourself.
So I'm gonna rotate back around and
You
go in
rotate.
with the crowd.
You rotate around into the crowd, and you're now flying, just floating a little bit above the ground as the crowd moves past you. You see December Diamonds in the distance, perching on a soapbox near the tent flap.
Is the show about to begin? I'm gonna ask just randomly to one of the people.
Yeah,
walking
it's
by.
starting! Come on!
Do I notice anything about them? Do they look what kinds of creatures they might
Roll
be?
an insight check.
Let's do some math. 25.
25. It's strange. It's almost like you're there, but you're not part of this. But you are. It's like you have to choose to be a part of it to interact with it. Otherwise, it would just go on without you.
I'm gonna keep fluttering along then through the big top.
All right. So you begin to fly. Above and behind you, in the upside down crowd, A surly half-orc male pushes through the barred gate and looks up, reaching his hand towards yours as you begin to fly away. Jen, no, take my hand. Something isn't right about this place.
What? I'm not sure.
He's not
What?
stepping down to the ground. He's almost like hugging the stone archway, just reaching up to you.
I'd like to try to whip around that and push. The flying is unusual, right? But try to push towards going back to him.
You want to go back? Okay.
Reach out.
All right. So you reach out to grab his hand, and you hear behind you December Diamonds. Yo, step right up for the best show in town. You know, the hideous mutant man. A death-defying act. A titty show. The great foreteller performs the impossible. The heroine tames the ferocious beast. Step right up. He points his cane at Othmal. Yo, behold, the most heinous monster. And Othmal sprouts these bluish black webbed drake wings, his tusks growing and letting out a horrendous roar as he recoils his hand. The monster flies between you and December Diamonds above the crowd, growling. Behind you, the gate swings to a crack and stops, not shutting.
How far am I from the gate, approximately, if you had to estimate?
About 20 feet.
2 seconds, then. I am infuriated and spin around towards December Diamonds. And with my eyes flaring, I'm going to cast a level 3 Shatter on him.
Level 3 Shatter. Okay.
I realize that might encompass some of the crowd, too.
The cane points in reaction to you casting the spell as you begin to do your verbal or somatic components and counterspell. It immediately fizzles in your hands.
Then I'm going to reach out for Othmal instead just to touch his shoulder.
You reach out.
Or his wing.
You reach out and you see the growl dissipate. I'm not a monster, please. Listen to me.
And I'm like, then hold on to me. And I'm going to try to cast Thunderstep to jump back through the gate with him.
Yeah, you reach out and you want to cast Thunderstep. The crowd responds, the monster! Alright, so you cast Thunderstep. Let's see here.
Level 3 as well.
Alright, yeah. You manage to... There's a blast, an eruption, as you reach out and grab Othmal and Thunderstep back to the other side.
As we land, then I'm gonna look immediately at him to see if anything's changed, if he's even there beside me.
He is gone. But you step onto the damp stone ceiling.
Do I still have my wings?
You do not. The floor above you is scattered with hay and rats' nests, insects and rodents chirping. There are several braziers now that light when you enter, eerily licking downward towards you as you stand upside down, but they illuminate the hallway. There are 3 barred doors on either side of the hall. You hear faint whispers building from behind the cell doors as you step past. You hear another distant, roaring scream echo up the hall from far ahead, but you can't determine the direction. You might be able to make out the words if you just try.
Can I focus then and try my best to listen?
Roll a perception check.
16.
16. You recognize the voice as Othmal's. The screams echo in your ears, and your eyes well up with tears when the third scream finally registers. He's repeating your name over and over again. Genevieve! You see a
Then I'm gonna
flicker.
try to.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you. I want to try to run towards whatever direction I think it might make out. If there's a T coming up at the end, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's a 60-foot hall with 3 doors on either side that tees and goes left and right.
Okay, I'm tearing down to
Yep.
the T, and
You-
then gonna try to listen again.
Right, you rush forward, and when you get to about your 3rd step, you see a flicker of pink pixie dust dart past the first door on the left. December Diamonds pops up between the bars of the small viewing window. He sits on top, flipping himself upside down to match you. Yo, this is boring, bro. Come on, let's go to the circus. Behind you,
I don't.
the gate swings a little more shut, with a rusty creak. On the other side, the crowd continues to rush past, parting around the stone doorway.
There's nothing keeping you with me. Go. I have other things to do, and I'm gonna plow forward.
Bro, you shouldn't go this way. It's not safe.
Headstrong. I'm
Okay.
running forward
good.
on the ceiling.
All right. Boring. All right, call me when you want to do something fun, he says, dashing inside your bag into his bottle and corking himself inside.
Oh, interesting.
As you head to the T, the iron gate swings shut behind you with a clank and latches shut. The other portal disappearing.
I'm gonna kind of stalwart myself and pull out my pendulum at the end of the tunnel and try to discern which way I should go.
Okay, roll an Arcana check.
I've done one of those in a long time. Ooh. 23.
23, very nice. As you focus on the pendulum, the whispers from those doors grow louder, like hundreds of voices in your head. You look down, and there's a familiar stone encased in a brass-colored mechanical device in your hand. This is what Lilith had, that she made Safkeen hold. You hear static in your head, like rapidly changing radio stations. Colliding with the echoing screams in the halls ahead of you. You hear Othmal yell, "Run, please!" between the static. Run, child. The device you were holding is now dangling from the the cord on your pendulum. And instead of the little silver tip, it is now this device that hangs there. You still hear the static in your head. It starts to point to the left of the T.
I'm gonna try to steady myself and go that direction.
Alright, you run that direction. The static returns. You hear Othmal yell, "Help, hurry!" And then we are Legion. The static stops and everything goes quiet. You hear Othmal once more. Run! The yells stop. The pendulum with the weird device on the end starts to rapidly swing at the 6 cell doors. Then back to the left hallway, then back to the doors, wildly swinging. Then all of the cell doors swing open at once. The pendulum goes limp. Then points straight forward to the left of the T, almost like pulling you forward.
I follow it, letting it guide me.
Alright, you follow it around the corner, and behind you, you hear the whispers. The 6 wings of Pazrael will deliver the vessel. Then 6 horrid, monstrous shadowy demons slither, lumber, and crawl their way into the hall from the 6 dungeon doors, turning to you and letting out a symphony of laughter from hundreds of toothy maws that sprout from their shadowy bodies. They cling to the ceiling upside down as you run across the ceiling to the left. They're between you and that closed gate, and they're up on their haunches like they're about to attack.
I am going to brace myself,
Alright,
grasping a bell and giving it a strong ring,
nice.
casting. Oof, what am I doing? Spirit Shroud.
Spirit Shroud, very nice. Go ahead and describe what happens.
First time. So this is the first time I've cast this spell. I'm not sure what happened. Something from within is just pulled out this energy of flitting fairies, but they don't have faces. They're kind of like little balls of light with wings instead.
Yep.
That are gonna flit and circle around me, kind of starting from my feet and coming up and
All right.
circling
Yeah,
around.
you see the magic encircle you as these small puffball fairy creatures now protect you.
I'm gonna run through with these radiant energy base
All right.
things floating around me.
So you go to the left. You run, hearing the footfalls of these monstrous creatures behind you, trying to keep pace as they lunge forward, some of them crashing into the wall as they go left around the corner. You run straight, coming to a plus sign, basically. You can go left, right, or straight.
I'm gonna just go straight.
You go straight.
No time to think. I'm just running straight ahead.
You feel your pendulum pulling you ahead. The monsters keeping pace, quickly behind you. You dare not turn around to see how close they are. As you run forward, it comes to a T again, leading to the left and the right.
I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm still gonna take that straight line going straight.
No, there is no straight. It's a T.
Oh,
so
it's a T.
left
Damn
or
it.
right.
Not a lowercase t. Ooh, think fast. To the right.
Okay, yeah, you go right. The pendulum pulling you that direction. You run for what seems like forever. The footfalls very close behind you, but you manage to keep pace. You come to another T, left or right.
I turn to the left.
You turn to the left and you feel the pendulum pull you back the opposite way.
And follow it to the right.
You turn around to the right. As you do, rushing past that section of the T, you look down the hallway and you glance. You see out of the corner of your eye the shadowy beasts getting closer as you run. They're gaining. Eventually, you come to a flight of stairs that leads downward.
Are they pushing me here?
You can feel the
Forcing me to
pendulum
go?
still pulling.
Then I'm gonna follow it and dash downstairs.
Alright, so I'm going to save a little bit of time. Let's do some skill checks. So I need you to roll a d20 and add your dex.
Yep.
First one?
Is 8.
8. Total?
Yep.
Alright, the creatures are right on your heels. If you stop at all, they will catch you. As you rush forward, go ahead and roll another d20. How much?
9.
They rolled a 6, so you manage to push ahead a little bit. You get to the bottom of the stairs. There's another T. You go right. There's another, like, plus sign. You go straight through the hallway. Then left twice as the pendulum pulls you. There's another flight of stairs. You rush down it. As you do, you can hear them starting to catch up again behind you. Roll another dex check.
19.
19. Oh, wow, you are lucky. All right, you make it to the bottom of the stairs. You take a right, then a left, then straight. Straight again. Left, right, and down a single flight of stairs that spirals downward. When you get to this portion, you don't hear the footfalls of the monsters chasing you. But as you descend, you can see your breath, and you get a chill.
Has it been about a minute since I've been running through this, at least?
At least, yeah.
Okay, so Spirit Shroud, my Spirit Shroud is dissipated then too.
You hear Othmal's voice. Good minions, leave her to me.
What? Who are you?
Genevieve, come to me.
I'm gonna walk towards the voice.
You creep down the spiral staircase to a small, arched opening. You smell death. Come to me, the voice says.
Am I hearing the voice audibly or am I hearing it in my head?
Audibly.
Just curious. Okay. I'm gonna step forward, but I'd like to be holding a Chaos Bolt ready to go.
You hold your Chaos Bolt as you step through the portal. It opens up into a subterranean space, ancient, made of stone. Old carvings that have long since worn away, crumbled ruins of a long forgotten tomb. There are pillars that colonnade this space. In the distance, in the faint light of the crystals on the ceiling, you see a burial tomb, a raised sarcophagus on a pedestal in the center of this massive space.
Does it remind me at all of what we saw underneath the castle? Well,
Not really.
okay. Do I recognize any? Are there any symbols or things on the walls that might
Roll a
jump
perception
out?
check.
Oh, 20, but not
20.
nat.
You don't see any kind of like carvings or any kind of iconography on the walls, but it looks like the sarcophagus might have something on it if you got closer. You also see like pools of water that have collected from drips from the ceiling. You see some crystal-lined shapes that are kind of protruding from the cavern walls in places, illuminating it bioluminescently a little bit. So there's a faint, dim light here.
Am I properly upright now then, on the ground?
Yes.
And for the sarcophagus down at the end, is it raised up
Yeah,
stairs
it's
leading to it, or
almost
is it
on
just-
like a stepped pyramid platform, and it's up on top.
And then I want to cautiously walk towards the base of the steps.
Yeah. As soon as your foot touches the base of the steps, you hear Mother in your head. Quickly, child, find your reflection. Do not stay in this place. Or
Can I lean over
stay
to
and
the side?
find out. I don't care.
I'm gonna stick there for a second,
Okay.
acknowledging her and her cackles, and I'd like to summon my unseen servant.
Okay, summon your unseen servant. It is now in front of you.
And I want to push him to go up, if you don't mind. Could you just
Your
go up and try
unseen
to...
servant begins to climb the pyramid steps, and as it does, you hear the heavy stone grinding of a lid moving. on top of the
I'm gonna
sarcophagus. It opens.
I'm gonna take 2 steps back,
You
but
take 2
watching
steps
with
back,
my eyes fixed.
watching as a black smoke, misty, starts to creep its way out of the open tomb. You hear.
Where is Othmal? What do you want with me?
You made it through my labyrinth. I will have my vessel. Finally, Genevieve, I have waited so many years. I will be whole again. You hear Mother in your head again. Quickly! The reflection!
Throw my body towards the side of the path to look into one of those pools as soon
Okay,
as
yeah,
possible.
you turn around quickly, rushing towards one of the puddles to find your reflection. You feel the energy enter the room, trying to chase after you. As you look into the puddle, you stare into your own eyes.
And I want to reach for that face to try to grab it, if I can, in the puddle.
You see your reflection. It grins back at you and winks, reaching up, grabbing you and pulling you inside. Again, you are thrust into the void of emptiness. You begin to float upward, and looking up, you see there is a circular shape, a purple light that appears above you in the void. A swirling, bubbling circle of liquid. When it gets close enough, you see a large ladle stirring, whirling the fluid, and through it, the wavy image of Mother looking down to you. Genevieve, I am Alpha. Have you felt the cold hand of Beta? The warm silence of Corvus Corax? They are my sisters.
Your sisters, what do they want with me?
Well, we all serve different masters, don't we? We made our choices. But you are sought after by the Puppet Master and the Queen of Light. I serve Ordog. Beta serves the dragon. Corvus serves the raven. Who would you serve?
I trust the Queen of Light.
That is smart. Genevieve, Osupilar is dead. Do not mistake me for her.
You have the feelings of her, though. It's very familiar.
Yes, we both come from dysfunctional families. But
it's an understanding.
You have a new family now. Trust them.
Are they safe? I mean, Othmal just called me to my doom.
Yes. Your new
You're not
family.
talking about him, are you?
You can trust them, but they should not trust you. You have a predestination, a gift for finding trouble. Don't you?
I always thought it found me.
It's not your fault. The Puppet Master and the Queen of Light. Make sure you stumble into it, so to speak. The ritual you escaped, the portal you entered in the woods, the schematic your captain sent with you, the house you were given, the monster inside it, the gateway beneath it. You think these are coincidences?
I felt the pull to the gateway, at least. I understand that the Feywild feels like home. But I'm of this world. I have connections here.
Remember, Not everything is predestined, child. I am no fool, but these are no mere coincidences.
And may I ask you a question?
Yes, but this place, it's become a focal point in time and space. Many powerful eyes. We have riled them. They do not like to be toyed with. But I have taken this risk to rid the plains of the Dark Lord's vision. I've channeled too many at once. She grips her forehead in pain. The black spot, it grows, its tendrils, they poison everything they touch. You have made a choice with me. That was a dry run of things to come. But you have not yet chosen. It is not predestined. Manipulate the strings or dance into the court, Genevieve.
Do I need to make a choice? I think hearing those words, my body naturally just starts to raise, and I, totally shocked on what I'm doing, I start pirouetting and just spinning. Unsure why.
She looks down and smiles. Genevieve, your glamour will help you cut the strings. But your weakness is your willingness to be pulled. Othmal is in a very dangerous place. Dance, child. For you are in danger. Dance. Enjoy your life. For short expectations, I fear the amulet my savior wears is pulling one of those tethers. You must be the one to cut it.
Now that I have the strength, I help others. I support. I don't lead anything.
You look up as you dance, and Mother's eyes go white, with no pupils. Her voice changes, and you hear a deep, monotone voice. The bloodletting has begun. The leeches feed, impale them all, and release their crimson upon the thirsty land. Delve into the labyrinth to save your captain, or dance with your ancestors and embrace the Seelie. Her voice normalizes, and she coughs. Her eyes go back to normal. You must be the one to cut it. In return, I shall answer your questions, but hurry. There isn't much time.
I need to know, what are your intentions with Xavier? He's clearly not of your kin.
He's important.
What do you hope?
He is a child to us all. A savior to us all. You must protect him, please. Help him find what he is looking for.
I can do that. Can you bring me back, though? I need to be back in my body. I need to be back.
Yes, I will bring you back. Reach up. Take my hand. She reaches down through the liquid. It burns her hands. As she reaches down to grasp yours. You reach
up and latch.
Immediately when you grasp her hand, you gasp and wake from some kind of a spell, still staring at your reflection in the large silver pendulum. It sways, and your reflection is now upside down in the reflection. You slump down as if your legs have been standing there for hours. You feel fatigued, exhausted. The cauldron has stopped brewing long ago. And you hear
the others still
whispering in the back room. The others are still looking at their reflections, except for Safkeen and Lindell, who have crept over and are trying to listen in on Mother's conversation. You notice there's something in your hands.
down and see what it is.
2 Taroka cards, both of them upside down. In your left hand is the marionette, and in your right is the dungeon. Both of them are inverted. And that's where we'll leave off. So, what do you think, Brian?
Hmm. I had a lot of feelings. You had me almost on the verge of tears there for a minute.
There's a lot of lore packed into that. There was a lot dumped in there, so it's recorded at least, so you can rewatch it. You don't have to write down everything.
I'm gonna need to go back for sure, but wow.
It's a lot, right?
Uh-huh.
How are you doing on time?
About 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, so we're going to do a little thing right now I like to call the one-on-one interview, where I interview Brian about Genevieve's thought processes. I've got a list of questions that I'm going to ask you, so let me bring those up real quick, and then
Sweet.
we'll get into it. I'm hoping it'll help you remember a little bit of what we just went over, some of the details and such. Okay. So, first of all, this was a massive lore dump. Do you need any refreshers?
No, I feel like it all kind of made sense.
Okay.
Going through it. Yeah. It took a while to catch up, and then I caught on.
And it was interesting because Genevieve kind of went back and forth a few times. You know, you couldn't really decide. You wanted to make a decision, but you kept getting pulled both ways by different visions of people close to you.
That's the pull of her, right? I think Genevieve is really invested in people and figures out who she is based off the people around her. Right. So I think it's a really logical tension for her to have.
So, from Genevieve's perspective, is this a crossroads?
It is now, after the discussion with Mother. I don't think she realized that while it was happening. I don't think she knew that there was a pull between finding out more about herself or finding herself tethered to the world that she's known. But
right.
Yeah, because she's been tasked now with a purpose, which has never really happened before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it makes her feel a little bit different. But how does it feel to have been shown something and to have made a choice, but now you still have the option of maybe changing your mind? Do you think you'll stick to the choice you made? Well, if
Genevieve is anything, she's a flake, so we can't count on anything.
Right, so she could flip-flop. We never really know.
100%. I feel like there's definitely this deep pull to figuring out more about ancestry and life and finding some sense of place and purpose. So this pull towards understanding the Fae parts of her.
Right.
Probably winning, but
there's
love is a powerful and strange thing.
It is. And right now you've got the where I came from and the what happened to me, but then also you have the future with Othmal, or helping Othmal, and then you've got short expectations on top of that. So your past and your future are really tugging at you right now.
And in particular Xavier too, and feeling like now there's been a defined responsibility, right?
Right. So you ended up going the path of the dungeon, right? That inverted tarot card. So Taroka, sorry, card. What do you think you missed out on the other side? Are there any regrets?
I think what happened no, I don't think there are any regrets, because I think what really was the turning point was seeing the potential cruelty that the Fae might have in manipulating and playing with an image. I think now, retrospectively, myself looking back, it might have more been symbolism and direction trying to tell it, but from Genevieve's perspective, what she saw was them manipulating and being cruel to Othmal, and that was something she couldn't stand, so she needed to go back and do whatever she could to protect him.
Right, exactly. So, how did it feel for Genevieve to see Othmal like that, transformed into a monster, to see December Diamonds, counterspelling and keeping you from Othmal? What about the tug of war between those two people in your life?
See, December Diamonds doesn't have as much of an emotional connection yet. Like she finds him interesting, and I think much in the way that he sees her. There's just like a bit of a fascination, but also a quick tendency to boredom. Maybe that's some heritage coming through. Who knows? But for Othmal, at least in my mind, when Genevieve was seeing him, she was enraged by seeing the transformation, but no fear about touching him or reaching out to him because it's Othmal.
Right. So then what
Hmm.
about when you got to the bottom of the dungeon? When you heard Othmal's voice coming through this whatever it was that you experienced in this tomb?
So for Jen, there was a sense that that wasn't him.
So was it
And
Othmal at all?
maybe not the whole time along, maybe again an attempt to manipulate, but that realization is kind of in the process of developing. I think as soon as that new space was entered, she feels like it's not him, that it's something else, which has then been clarified by Mother afterwards. But wondering then if her weaknesses are being what's used to manipulate her, pulling on, and something knows her unfortunately more than she knows herself. The big thing for going into that last dungeon where the sarcophagus was trying to combat the deep sense of fear
Mm-hmm.
from the nostalgia of earlier childhood traumas, if you will.
Right, right.
So I was trying to navigate how am I reacting to that? How am I showing how to be cautious as Genevieve, because this is definitely striking a familiar chord.
Right. So do you think you would have seen anybody else from your past or your future present on the other side in the circus?
Mm, I hadn't thought about that.
And I might share the other side eventually. Like, don't think it's lost or
Mhm.
that it won't come out as you explore. There's big things afoot, and I don't know where you'll go yet. So you might still experience some of this stuff. You guys are almost experiencing things on a cosmic scale now. There's other planes of existence, and I mean, is it scary for Genevieve to think that you might have to go to another plane of existence and maybe not get back?
Well, before jumping into that, one of the things that, in my mind, again, as Jen working on that side with the big top tent, hearing the name Foreteller immediately started to feel distressful.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like a red flag that popped up. But no, I feel like slowly I'm becoming more confident in who I am. So the fate of the world doesn't seem as daunting. Although the fate
Right.
of myself is absolutely terrifying.
Right, exactly. So do you feel pulled right now between the world needs my help and I got my own shit?
Hmm. That's definitely the tension, and that's what played out exactly here, right?
Do you think there is some correlation then about what Jen will probably do in the future when confronted with the world needs my help? I got my own shit, sorry.
But I feel like also it was a lesson from Mother that maybe the choice that you would naturally make isn't the choice you need to make.
So then what do you think about Mother? Like, how has this changed your perception or your anticipation about what she is or what you thought she'd be? Because you guys all said you were kind of surprised and Mother wasn't what you expected. Is that the same for
Mm-hmm.
Genevieve?
100%. I think I was expecting more darkness and less chaos, just more directed organization.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised by that, and also by the familial ties that she has. That was a revelation
Right, and
with Alpha Beta and Corva Corvax, right?
that's right. Yeah, and good that you remembered that. Those are good details. And do you think Mother's just like cuckoo bananas, or is there something to all of this?
No, because again, as someone who dabbles in divination and who has experienced the supernatural in unusual ways, I think I recognize some truth in her, and I also see a beautiful kitty bum.
Yeah, little kitty. Can't stay away. You want the fingers,
So no,
yes.
there's an inherent desire to trust, but I'm also nervous about her associations with Ordog, who I am aware is not the nicest deity and who enjoys munching and crunching other living things.
Right. So, with all these visions and deities, metaphors, do you think it's Mother?
Guiding it? No, I think what happened was that she made a conduit for us to experience and figure out what we're supposed to be doing. I think she was trying to guide it and perhaps maybe get some sort of protection around us being able to see these things that we could go forward, because that's, at least from what Xavier's explained, that's her job, right? She's someone who people come to find direction, to find their
Right.
path.
So then what do you think
So that,
it was, if not Mother?
oh, I think that was actually the puppet master there. I think that was fully present as a spirit entity, because I remember seeing it as a shadow creature prior, and I don't think flitting between planes would be beyond its reach.
Hmm. Oh, that's good.
Like
Yeah.
likewise, I'm not sure about December Diamonds though. I feel like in channeling a vision of something and an essence, I feel like because he's a mystical creature that there was enough of him there, but not entirely. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you want to pursue that now, or do you feel like you were baited towards something?
I feel like I was baited towards both sides,
Hmm.
which is a bit frustrating as someone who feels like they've spent their whole life trying to escape a destiny. So,
Right. And she spoke a little bit of destiny and nothing being, final, and that you have decisions that you're going to have to make, and this was kind of a dry run for that. Um,
mhm.
so, do you think you have some time to figure it out still, or are you just going to have to jump head on and just make a decision and see what happens?
I think there's going to be time to figure that out and to explore it a little bit more. But I think again, having done a dry run, there is a more clear, foretold path that perhaps might work. But again, the pulls of emotion and worldly ties complicate things. Yeah, so no
Yeah.
decision's been made. That's the short answer.
Right. Yeah. Pretty
Poetic,
much.
but true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this wasn't real, or at least you don't think it was. Um, so then, all right. So Genevieve pulled these two cards.
Mm.
Did you?
Reversed as well.
Right, inverted. So do you have some thoughts about the astrology of what you experienced versus what these cards are or what they represent?
Well, I think there's also hmm. Again, planar differences, right? We have a very clear differentiation between what's above and what's below.
Hmm. So then, what
But
does the marionette mean inverted for Genevieve?
hmm, I hadn't thought about that.
And then,
Well, I guess then I guess for the marionette inverted, that she's the one that can control the direction, right? Because there's no one else pulling the strings. When the strings are at the top, the hand is up there. But if it's inverted, the strings would be at the bottom, which is where she was placed in that world.
right.
So there's choice.
And what about the
Oh,
dungeon being inverted?
if the dungeon is inverted, then everywhere we ran and went down, we're actually going up. Wait,
And left was right and right was left.
then does that mean that the other things that were there are actually the opposite of what we saw? I mean, because Othmal wasn't Othmal as well. Mm,
I'm sure Genevieve will have
think about that.
some sleepless nights coming up thinking about it. Um,
And needing to converse with her collaborators in adventure too, because
that's right.
the other curiosity is what's the difference between what Jen's seen and
That's right.
everybody else.
And that brings me to one of our last questions. I think I've only got a few more. Let's see here. Where is it? Are you excited to try and share with the rest of Short Expectations in the next roleplay session, or do you think that the unreliable narrator effect is going to be too chaotic to sort all these details out?
I feel like some of this wouldn't be publicly disclosed. I feel like Jen might keep parts of the story to herself,
Yeah, that's the
share a
next
little bit.
question. Are you going to divulge all the things you saw and heard, or keep some of it secret?
I feel like we're getting to the point where Jen might want to talk to you about it for some of the things that she's seen and experienced, but at the same time, guarded to a degree.
Do you think you're building
And
up
she's
to
sure
any?
that Lindell and Safkeen will be happily sharing what they've seen,
Oh
so
yeah,
it'll be
yeah,
easy to not have to go as in depth.
right. So is Genevieve building up to any kind of big reveal to the rest of the party?
At this point,
Or is she an open book?
yes, an open book.
So
As
then,
far as they know.
so then, is it Genevieve's time? That's the last question. Is it your time to do your backstory now? Have we waited long enough? Xavier got to do his thing, or you're doing it right now. You've done some of Yu's stuff. Is it Genevieve's turn?
I still feel like unless events that are occurring in real time require them, she wouldn't be at the point of sharing.
So is Genevieve just gonna jump on a ship and abandon the group?
No,
Or
she wants them to come with her. She knows she can't do it on her own, and now when she makes a commitment to something, she generally sticks to it. So she has made a promise to watch after a little tree.
do you think that Edmund and the Black Market Society is the best route to go to do so?
Oh, super distrustful, but I mean, I've got lots of experience with pirates, so I'm not too worried. And again, there's my supposed friends are around, so I'm hoping that
Right.
I'll be able to rely on them.
And you've contacted your crew. They're out there somewhere.
Mhm.
There's some of them missing or got captured, other things. But
Right.
you excited to get the band back together?
It just seems like that's the best course of action to be able to do it, although some thought ahead of time and discussing with the group would make sense.
So then, what about the Black Spot and your crew member?
That's
Are you worried that you're going to be walking into something?
100%. But I think taking some loaded ammunition in the form of adventurers might help. And
Yeah.
again, we're relying on strength in numbers.
I think that's smart. All right, that's all the questions I have for you.
All right.
So
I'm gonna go get changed and get some dinner.
yeah, thanks for joining me for D&D. I had a lot of fun. It was perfect.
Yeah,
It all went
that
very
was.
smoothly.
I'm very happy. It was very interesting, and I'm very curious to hear more.
And I did not expect the way you went either. I wasn't expecting it at
Really?
all. I had to make up a little bit as we went, so no, that was fun.
Ooh,
It's happened
even
for
better.
every single one of these so far. I've had to deviate a little bit, so it's always fun to see how you guys take it. But
There's a
Brian,
surprise element.
thank you for making time to do this. I'm glad I got you back up to speed, and we'll
Yeah.
pick up next time. I
Sounds
still
good.
need to do two
Have a good
more
one.
of these, and I'll see you later.
Sounds good. Send my best to Seda too.
Will do. All right. Bye, Brian.